Hello, screenwriters, and welcome to Writing for Screens, the screenwriting step-by-step project, episode 223. My name is Glenn Gers, and I come to you every Monday through Friday, if I can make it, at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time Zone, to let you look over my shoulder, share my screen as I write a script. I am doing this to teach script writing, a part of script writing, screenwriting that I think is under-taught, which is the work process. Lots of people are teaching you how to write a great script. Lots of people are teaching you how to write a script that sells. But I just want to talk about how you actually get a script written, page by page, line by line, because I don't think you can have a great script if you can't write it. And my experience in a 25-year career writing for TV and movies is the hardest thing is to build yourself a process that you can trust, a way to get all those ideas onto the page, into an outline, into scenes, and rewritten into a readable form. Whatever kind of writing you do, the process is always going to be the same for you, and you have to figure out your kind. So I'm just going to show you how I do it in case there's a couple of tips or tricks or techniques that you can steal and use for yourself as you build your process. Because everybody has to figure it out for themselves. The main things that I have to actually teach you are here on my channel in the first 3 playlists: Screenwriting Essentials, Screenwriting Tools, Skills, and Craft, The Process, Being a Writer. That's where I have tried to take topics. The title of the topic is right there, big and bold, in the thumbnail. Dramatic action, flashbacks, format, whatever it is, I tried to distill it down to about 7 to 12 minutes of tips and tricks that I think are useful, because truly, everybody has to figure out their own way. Everybody does it the way they need to for the kind of script they need to do. There is not a formula. There is not a universal rule. All I can do is try and give you skills, techniques, tools that you can use or not. Just put them in your toolbox in case they are useful to you. Good afternoon, Nathan. Thank you very much. Hello, John. You are welcome for the great advice. Hi, Ray. So yeah, that's what we are doing here. We are just walking through the process and letting you watch, because it might help you. You might see how I solve a problem. You might see that certain problems are inevitable and you got to figure out your way to solve them. So that's what we're doing here. And we are frankly moving on into getting almost done. It's 24 pages of readable. I have been moving through the scenes, and at this point I am polishing. I'm just trying to get the language in the scene to read as well as I can at the moment. So, good evening, Rachel. So, coming up on halfway through the script. And when I am done with this draft, I am going to stop. I'm going to do a couple more little tweaks to the presentation, and then this project will be done. So the scene that we are in right now is Kyle, the young delivery guy drug dealer, has sold her some drugs. And this scene is good as it is. Music blasting on the excellent sound system, Madeline and George and their punk grunge band, which was it's many years ago. Hand scrawled on the reel-to-reel tapes box, death of music as we know it, lit only by a lava lamp. Madeline, seriously stoned, sings as loud as she can along with her 20-year-old self. So that's it. That's the whole scene. Just describing her doing this. In truth, the scene would last longer than what looks like less than a quarter of a page. Because we're going to watch her sing, and there's going to be a song, and that song will be chosen by people who have the legal right to choose a song and pay for it. So that's what's going on. Now, meanwhile, we cut to Dondowski. Dondowski, parked across the street in the dark, watches the house. He frowns, rolls down his window. The blasting music drifts in. The hell? So yeah, that's all good. I don't need to tweak that anymore. It's good enough. It reads well. I like this. Dundowski gets out of his truck, wary, walking closer, trying to glimpse the party in this house of grief. That's just sort of a little bit of fancy writing there, a little bit of editorializing. You can do that. You are allowed to do that. There, people who say, "Oh, you're not allowed to write anything the camera can't see." Well, the camera can see what he's feeling because he's feeling it. So you need to tell him what he's feeling. He's trying to look in and see what the hell's going on. This place is supposed to be where a murder just happened. So. And then, so the first sentence is about Dundowski getting close to the house, trying to look in. Meanwhile, essentially behind him, in the shot that would be. But what I did is I made a new paragraph to say he doesn't notice the headlights down the street. They go out. So now we have what we're doing here is you're steering the audience's mind, okay? Madeline is singing and dancing. Dundowski is in his truck. He kind of hears something, so he rolls down his window, and the blasting music drifts in, and he's like, what? Then we cut to him getting closer to the house, going closer to the house, and as he does, we then change our attention, shift our attention. I always advise when you are changing attention, when you are moving from one thing to another, make a paragraph break. So, hi, Gene. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. So now we cut again to a new place. We saw those headlights. They go out. We cut to see that Norman is watching Dundowski, who's watching the house. So yeah, this is all good. Look, we're moving right along. This is good. In the sudden silence, Madeline takes a sweaty, happy bow to an imaginary audience. Okay, cool. Now, what we're doing here is every time I am changing location, it's a new scene. In other words, here, Norman is in his car. That's a scene we're in his. Now we're going to go into the house. So we do a new scene line, a slug line, as they are called, scene heading. So inside the house, meanwhile, the song stops, and Madeline is like, yes, thank you, how great. She's imagining that she's performing. And then we cut to outside the kitchen door, exterior kitchen door. Dundowski freezes, hand on the doorknob, listening. Steps back. Because what's happened is he was planning to go in to try and break in because there's all this noise and something's going on, and he thinks he can try and sneak in and take advantage of whatever's going on. But when it gets quiet, it's more risky. When things are really loud, he thinks, if I break the door, no one's going to notice. Okay. Meanwhile, then we cut back to Norman's car. This is a basic element of screenwriting that's really useful. It's also true of fiction writing and theater writing and everything else, but it's especially useful in screenwriting, which it's called intercutting, or you're weaving several different characters' plot lines by cutting between them. This was one of the big advances. It was pioneered way back in 19th century novels. The people who were making silent films said, oh, we can do that. In other words, if you are, the famous idea is you show the villain tying the heroine to the train tracks. Then you cut to the train a mile away approaching. Then you cut to the hero hearing the train and deciding to go save her. So you're cutting between the elements that are coming together. That is what we are doing here. It is a basic strategy of screenwriting. All right. So Norman is calling 911, and he's just getting a recorded phone tree. So he's frustrated. He hangs up and gets out of the car. Gets out. I am doing that thing that screenwriters do, which is irrational but easy, which is the things you want to emphasize, you just put in all caps. Is there a rule about this? No. Is there a justification for it? No. But it has become commonplace in screenwriting, so you're allowed to do it. Okay. A new tape into the machine and flips a clunky old lever. Tape hiss. Behind her, outside the dark outside the dark window. Yeah, that's okay. Dundosky peers in. Let's just solve it. I put this in bold and italics just so that I would say, that's not right. That's a filler. That's a placeholder. Make sure you deal with this. So I just have to come up with the actual. So hang on while I have to go find the band band name, because I have forgotten what the band name is. 1991. Oh, 1992, I think. There we go. We were called The Utter Destruction of Everything. Okay, fair enough. Okay. Okay, so utter destruction. Yeah, we're just going to leave it short. Utter destruction. Song title. Take 4. Starting scene 1 of my... Nathan, your picture changed. Starting scene 1 of my new sci-fi novel today. Good luck to Emma. Good luck to you. I am really glad, Nathan, you were saying that you were scrap piling and brainstorming and didn't feel like you had gotten a shape to it. It appears that you have figured out something to begin with. Good luck. Keep working. It is always better to write things down and try them out than not. I am really glad that you're starting scene number 1. Do it. Have a fun time. For I am trying to figure out the title of this song. I want it to be fairly short because yeah, of course I remembered all that. I am somewhat capable. Utter destruction. What is their song title? This is so unimportant. This is one of those things. It's like it's fun, but it is totally unimportant. The main thing is we have hit really hard on the anarchist punk aesthetic of this band. The title, Utter Destruction of Anything. The title of the album is End of Music as We Know It. I would like something a little more clever and interesting for this title, for this song title. Utter destruction. American excess. American excess. Take 4. Of course, people are going to hear that as express, but who cares? You know what? There we go. Actually, music bangs speakers. All right. So Dundowski backs away. Okay, Dundowski moves swiftly to the kitchen door, produces a massive hunting knife and easily pops the lock. Madeline thrashes and boom. Okay. Madeline thrashes and dances. She sings to an imaginary microphone facing an imaginary dark crowded club full of sweaty grunge punk New Yorkers. Okay, so this is all in her mind, but it's, I think, good to describe it. I think just staying still. See, it's past Madeline. A trapdoor on the hallway ceiling, the way up to the attic, where George is his objective. I want to say retreats. Edges back into the kitchen. All right. He opens drawers, considers a ball. Kitchen time. Keeps looking. Turns to open the glass front cabinets. I was just looking. I have freezes. George freezes, Norman freezes. I'll live with it. And sees Norman reflected in its glass. Yeah, this scene was in good shape already. This is, sometimes you're just like reading through and like tweaking a word here or two. Okay. Hi, Larry. Nice to see you. We are moving along. We've moved through a couple of pages now. I am very happy about that. Did I say lunges? Here's he's pushing the door shut, but he's actually pushing the door shut with Norman's body. So, yeah, I'll leave that to it. Okay, so now we got grabs and grabbings. How about Norman swings him around by the collar? Dundosky. Madeline lost her performance, wanders the room, turning away just as behind her. Now, do I want to put the behind her? No, it's good here. Behind her, Dundosky staggers backward, coffee can clattering off his foot, choking on ground coffee. In other words, from the counter, so Norman grabbed a can of coffee and then went bam and hit Dundosky, and Dundosky then fell back and he's going past the doorway. Coffee can. The coffee can. Scaring the hell out of Madeline, who shrieks as he lunges for the shelves, frantically looking for a weapon or a phone or that's fun. Dundosky stomps in, coming after him. Norman grabs the lava lamp, hot orange blobs in a glowing yellow liquid, and whirls, swinging it as hard as he can. Meets Dundosky's head. I don't like to do too many of these dashes. Yes, in theory, action is happening bump, 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 and it never actually stops, so you never really have a period. But now and then, you want to just like separate out the sections of a fight or an action sequence. Meetston, swinging it. It meets a loud, hollow clunk. The lamp goes out, its glass cone core flying out of its metal shell and bouncing off the wall. Norman can't explain. No sound in the darkened room except everyone's heavy breathing. Okay, so yeah, now it's actually dark. And the lava lamp rolling steadily across the wooden floor. Dundosky draws the huge hunting knife. Oh, crap. There, I won't move out of there. Okay. Okay, that's good. This is absolutely adequate action. We are good to go. I'm trying not to say curse words too much because my advertising dollars go down if I have lots of curses in this live stream. All right, so phone points to the landline and Norman snatches it up, dialing 911. Madeline anxiously holds the knife ready as Dundosky gets to his feet. 911 operator. Now, can we? Yeah, we can do that. Here's the thing about phone stuff. It is, you can either, the audio editing can either give us the sound that a character hears or not when they have the phone to their ear. Sometimes in a phone call scene, you won't hear what the other person is saying. Sometimes you will. So I'm going to write it as if we can. All right. I love this. I love that Dundosky, he promised in the earlier scene that he would not hurt these people or hurt this woman. And he's coming back to himself. This is a key character moment for Dundosky, because we have established that Dundosky is a biker meth dealer who's also a amateur armchair detective who's out for justice. When he sets himself off, the big fear that we have is that he is going to lose his temper and be violent. We establish that by, first of all, his menacing manner, and then he flips out and shoots his friend's car on his way out of his office. So the unstated question all the way through is, what's going to happen when these two middle-aged, non-violent people run into this murderous giant meth dealer? And this is a key moment in the story because he's not a bad guy. He's on the good team. So by setting this scene up where it's like he has every excuse to flip out and murder them, and I say there is no question he could disarm and dismember them both in moments, but he just sighs and shakes his head and walks out. Yes, indeed, Dundosky is a good character in the sense that he's got some complexity, some layers. He is more than one thing. That is the key to creating characters. Don't just have them be one thing. Not to say they have to be have secrets or have opposites. They don't have to have opposing natures. They can be all one way, but they can't just be one note. So that therefore, like Shrimpton, she's wants to be a detective for the gossip value, for the entertainment, for the hobby, for the fun. And once this stuff starts happening, she rejects it. She gets out of it. But then later we see that she is actually dealing with life and death stuff all the time. That's a new level to her character. Anyway, that's what the main thing about characters is. You want to make sure in their actions they are revealing elements of themselves so that they are not just one note. That's the trick to characters. Yes, shooting your friend's car does sound so American. I regret that that is true, but I can't deny it. Okay. Okay. So Madeline still holding the knife to keep Norman back. To keep Norman back. Keeping. Yeah, that's better. So the point here is we now have two characters left who have never met, and therefore they are somewhat wary of each other. Yes. Once you start looking for opportunities for characters to define themselves through action, they start to show up. The whole point is you just have to keep an eye out. You're like, oh, Dundosky's in the scene. What could he do? What would tell us about him in his relations to the other people? That is the job of the screenwriter at all times. You always have to be thinking, how can this both advance the plot, give information, and help us develop an understanding of this person as a person with a complex set of problems, because every person has a complex set of problems. All right, here's the thing. I kind of want to change this description. See, what's happening is Madeline is holding the knife, so Norman is actually in danger, and he's called 911, which is, in theory, kind of a threat to Madeline, because he wants to just help her calm everything down, so he hangs up on 911. But then, having done that, he thinks, well, wait, maybe she wanted me to talk to her, Yeah, that's okay, actually. You afraid of me? Kinda. Good. Sorry, you mind if I just... all right, this is all fine. We have hit this. We've hit a patch of the script which is not needing to be polished. There's no need for a comma there. This is one action. He takes a bag of frozen vegetables from the freezer. I kind of wish I didn't say frozen and freezer, but takes a bag of vegetables is weird, and frozen. Nah, you got to do it. Got to do what you got to do. Takes a bag, presses it to his eye. Here, wait a second. Once again, this is like, the point is, people are revealing themselves in their actions. Remember, Madeline is scared and confused and stoned, as it says. Norman came there to protect her, to rescue her from the threat. So and he has in fact got the worst of the situation. He's in pain. He's been, he got beat up. So he's more like, okay, I know I'm not a threat, so let me focus on what I need to, which is, ow. So he's like, let me go get something on this eye. So Madeline is noticing that he seems to be not worrying about her. He's dealing with his own situation, and so she's just making sure that she's not in danger. And then when he puts the vegetables on it, she's thinking, no longer afraid of him, because he's essentially proved that unless he's being very clever, proved that he is not out to hurt her, and so she is thinking, you got to disinfect a cut. Just, she's very common sense. However, she's also stoned, so therefore she's sort of wobbly. So he's like, you okay? She's like, shut up, I'm helping you. That's funny. You need to disinfect that. He shuts up while she squirts dish soap on a washcloth and applies it clumsily to his cut. That means it's working. So she's just being very practical and not. There's a certain comedy to this sequence of these people who don't even know each other, falling into certain roles. Okay. All right. I'm curious, Glenn. You mentioned your 25-year screenwriting career, but that you were writing even back when you were 10 pianists. Isn't that more than 25? Yes. I was talking about 25 years professional, paid, making a living at it. No, my actual writing, I honestly started writing back when I was 12, 15 years old, which means that essentially it's 40 years. And I have talked in some other places, like my fear of writing video. Let me see if I can. This one, I talk about how I went to college, not really wanting to, because I wanted to be a writer, But I was having terrible writer's block, so I dropped out of college, and then I couldn't get anything done, so I went back to college. And then I was an office temp for 12 years. Yes, 12 years office temping or working in offices before I actually started to make a living. So there's a good 18 there, all told, years from when I actually started trying to be a writer, which was admittedly very young, a young teenager, to when I actually made a living at it. And I'm not counting that as my 25 years experience. I meant experience as a professional writer, because that's the difference between me and the people who are not professional writers. So that's the 25 years that counts. All right. Does that help? Did I solve your math for you there? Okay. Oopsie. Okay. Ray says, oh, I wish I could write my current scripts in US English. It seems easy to compose complex information in compact sentences without having to resort to tons of particles and adverbs. I do not know enough about other languages to know what's easy or hard. So all I can say is, once again, I've said this before, I am in awe of anyone who is watching this, listening to this, or writing bilingually. If you have 2 languages in your toolkit, you are massively impressive to me, because I am not capable of, I could not learn another language. I knew a little bit of French, but just high school French. So my advice on the language thing is always write in the language you are most comfortable in. The most important thing is that you get your thoughts into clear words in whatever language that is. Also, if you're not working in English, you're probably not in America. And if you're not in America, work in the field and the language that is in where you are. Because at this point, there is a film industry of some sort, or an indie film world, wherever you are. Hollywood obviously has a nice reputation, but at this point, Hollywood is relatively weak. American market is relatively weak compared to India and China and South America. And so, honestly, if you can get good in those fields, you might actually be able to rise to the absolute top of those businesses. So anyway, so my answer is, I can't imagine that there is not a version of whatever language you are speaking that is worth writing, that is not worth writing in. It's got to be good. You got to be able to write in your language. If you want to work in Hollywood, yes, you're going to have to become super fluent bilingually. I would say work where you are. Work in your language. Get good at that. All right. Good. I am so glad. Yes. All right. I started my writing in 2006. Still nothing but, hey, fortune and glory, here I come. You know what? In the 18 years that I was working, and I mean, I was, by the time I got into late high school, it's like a full-time, this is what I care about. That's all I care about is finding some way to be an artist. And so while, yes, I went to school or I did jobs, that I was always saying, I'm doing this in order to support my artistic interests. And a day did not go by that I did not put some time or effort into those artistic interests. So 18 years, it's a long time. And multiple times during those 18 years, I thought, you know what? Maybe I should forget about the Hollywood professional part and just do the thing that I can do, like a little indie, films or theater or whatever. And once I was writing professionally here in Los Angeles with a Hollywood living, there's ups and downs in everyone's career. And there are times when every professional writer has thought, wow, I'm not going to get another job. I'm going to have to figure out what to do, A, to pay my bills, and B, to continue writing not in this business. That's just everybody. everybody really is constantly worried about how to get their next job. Even if your next job is your first job, it doesn't get that much better when you are in the business, because you're still facing enormous competition, and the odds are you're not going to get the next job, and it's very hard. So that's why my advice is always plan for the worst. Hope for the best, plan for the worst. Figure out what you will do if you do not make a living at your writing, because honestly, that's an unlikely thing. It's difficult. Okay. Yeah. This is a little, I kind of wish I didn't have to say he is. Just say trying to be polite, letting her help. But I think I have to, because right now the subject is water running. So the trying to be polite would therefore, if it says sudsy water runs out of his face, trying to be polite, you would assume the water was trying to be polite. So that doesn't work. Okay. All right, I can at least get rid of the they are staring. Okay. My name is Norman Murch. I'm sorry I'm here like this. I just didn't want Mr. Dondosky to hurt you. And who is Mr. Dondosky exactly? He's a meth dealer. Right. And you know him how? I'm in a group with him online, crime solving. The meth dealer is a... yeah, let's do that. Is a crime cracker. There we go. He has a very deep sense of justice. What are you in all this? A journalist. This is great. This scene is good. This scene is done. What are you? A journalist. I'm writing a book about online culture. That's why I'm in the group. So you're like spying on them. She sits at the kitchen, drugs and stress overtaking her, closes her eyes and breathes deeply. No, I'm embedded, because I think something monstrous has happened to our world and we don't even see it. Digital culture is how we see now. And tech philosophy took over the world because it's making money, but no one is questioning whether it's a good philosophy. Crowdsourcing, the abdication of responsibility, the destruction of tech philosophy. Yeah. Okay. This is not bad. Yeah, exactly. Gene is right. There are so many great movies in different languages. You have a gift, express it. Gene is trilingual. Damn. All right. I feel foolish. Gene is trilingual, and I believe has a law degree. So that's just making me. I am like the tortoise and the hare. I am the tortoise. I am stubborn and slow, but I am determined, and I do not quit. So, but I do also recognize that if I am banging my head against a wall, try another direction. Don't there's not just one solution to artistic satisfaction. Over the world. Okay, it took over everything because it's making money, and no one is questioning whether it's a good result. Crowdsourcing, abdication of responsibility, abdication. The destruction of society by the internet. By the internet. This is not my favorite sentence. The Destruction of Society by the Internet. Hello, Najo. Good to see you. Yeah, I'll only start. Yes, exactly. I'm not closed because it's a historical novel. I will have a period when I can overlap them, and I will let you know when that's happening. But that's not till late in the fall. I got to finish all these videos first. I got this whole list. I've got like 20 videos that I'm writing the scripts of that I then have to shoot and cut and present to you, and then I will feel like, oh, okay, now I have created a complete library of what I have to say about writing. I mean, I'm always thinking new things, but like these are like the lessons that I could narrow down to. This is a lesson. So there we go. All right. This is the Destruction of Society by the Destruction of Society by Making Everything. The Destruction of Society. In the guise of breaking down authority. Destruction of Society. The Destruction of Society in the guise of, under the banner of, the Destruction of Society equal. There we go. The Destruction of Society as an accidental consequence of making everything easy and equal. Okay. Oh, that's better. Hi, Flying Over Trout. Last week of my current screenwriting class. Then I start the next one. Well, good. Excellent. I hope it's going well. That's fair. But still, let's take our credits, shall we? You've done them. Good or bad is it's so subjective. All right. Hi, Malika. Okay. So, the abdication of responsibility, the destruction of society is an accidental consequence of making everything easy and equal. I like that. That's good. Let's continue. This is so long. Draping her arm around his shoulder and putting his arm around her waist, he helps her to her feet. Yeah, it's exactly what he's doing. Don't have dashes where you don't need them. Wow, that's a good scene. I'm going to stop there. Look at that. We got to page 31. We got like a whole sequence that just needed a couple of tweaks, and that's pretty damn cool. So I think I'm going to quit while I'm ahead. This is one of the coolest things. Like after months and months and months of work, you will hit patches where it's like, oh, I basically got that. That's actually like, if I could teach an important lesson here, that's the trick. Everyone says like, how do you know when you're done? You know when a bit is done. You get like an, oh, that's pretty good. If you don't get an, oh, that's pretty good, think about why. It's not possible that nothing you do is good. Okay, some of what you do has got to be pretty good. And so the question is, when you hit those things, it's very important that you get used to saying, oh, I know when what I do is good. Everyone counts on you. That's your part of the job of being an artist, is to have some judgment of yourself in which you do not hate your own work. That's really important. So then what happens is, as you're going over it, eventually you hit these like sections. Like, I got that section. I've gone over that a few times, but it's good. It's good enough. It's done. And that's all you need to know, is that now I can rest easy about that. And when you read through that's all you've got, then you're done. That's how you know you're done. Yeah, a couple of movies have been made in Latin, maybe. All right, so I think I'm going to stop, because it's a good stopping place, and so that's it. Tomorrow, hey Ches, bad timing. I'm so sorry. Wait, Ches filmed that short. Congratulations, you've got it in the can. That is fabulous. How did it go? While we're waiting for the reply. I enjoyed the first few pages I read of Blood and Smoke. Great intermeal. Yes, I agree. Actually, I'm proud of that. For those of you who don't know what Nathan is talking about, here on my website, if you go, the purple thing is the first page you'll hit if you click on writingforscreens.com. If you scroll down, you'll go past this yellow page, which is just advertising, and you'll get to this grid of what are actually buttons. And if you click on the button in the lower right corner, which is marked Creative, you will get to a page where I have just a grid of little boxes, and those are things I have done for you that you can take. Like there's some scripts that I have written. One of those scripts is called Blood and Smoke, which is an adaptation of a nonfiction book I read and thought, oh my God, this would be a great series. So I wrote the pilot episode of a series based on that book. It took me a long time to get the rights. Luckily, I found that nobody else wanted them because it was a big sprawling story. And so I got them for a reasonable price. And so I adapted the book. And it's called Blood and Smoke, and it's a really good script. Okay. All right. Yes, congrats to Ches. Well, I do worry that some of the dialogue is a bit cringe. Yeah, do what you can. Don't worry about it. I don't know if it's the acting of the script, but there's nothing I can do now. That's right. Maybe I could have done with writing longer. No, don't worry about it. The main thing is cut it together and see. And yes, if some lines are cringe, first of all, that happens to the best of us. You can't prevent every problem. This was your first movie. You're going to, if parts of it are good and parts of it are bad, that is a huge win. That is success. Show it to other people. Also, you'd be surprised what you can do in editing. Sometimes you can cut around certain things. Also, if a line is cringe, sometimes you can cut to the person listening to the person speaking, and it diminishes the cringiositude. Anyway, you are very, very welcome, Leica. Yes, congrats to Ches. Yay, Ches. I'm very impressed. That is great. Yes, congrats. Ches, the main thing is you did it. That is a huge, the difference between being an artist or not being an artist is doing it. That's the thing. That's what makes you do it. That's what makes you, like, if you can say, I have made a short film. Now you have to edit it, and you will find it's a whole extra layer of magic that you can apply to make it good. And I am very, very happy for you. Hunter is currently rewriting his second screenplay. It's longer than the first draft, but I feel it's getting better. That often happens. This script that I'm working on for this project is 9 pages too long. I'm hoping to get it down to only 5 pages too long. I'll live with that. But anyway, Hunter, congratulations. Thanks from Ches. Yes, exactly. At least you get to see your work embodied. That is exactly the thing. How many drafts do you end up writing for Mad Money? God, I don't know. Probably 20 or 30. It depends on whether you count as a draft, because at a certain point, especially when you're working on a production, you'll just rewrite a certain scene. Like they'll just say, "Oh, can you fix this scene or that scene?" Or you'll be in working with a company and they'll say, "Oh, can you change this, this, and this?" It's not really a new draft, but it's counted as a new draft because they got to keep the drafts clear. So even a small change creates a new draft. So the answer is I probably did at least 30 drafts of Mad Money. So that's the answer. Yes, Malika is right. Yeah, you can learn from your experience. Cringiositude, yes, indeed, that is a new. I had to climb a big hill with all the gear every day, so I'm glad I'm done now. Yes, that there's nothing like production to make you enjoy being a writer, and there's nothing like writing to where when you're writing, all you think of is, God, I wish I was doing stuff, and then when you're doing it, you're like, I wish I was writing. Malika is in a production with a script co-wrote with 2 other writers, both of which are first-time writers. Congratulations in production. Everybody is working. Yep. We can all do with some trimming. It's okay. Reluctant to cut. Look at who you're talking to. I am 9 pages long. I was cringy in rehearsal, but when we were on set this weekend, I was loving the choice the actors were making to what we wrote. It made me like it more. Yes, exactly. Also, as you pointed out, you learn. The next time you're writing, you'll say, "Oh, I understand now what sounds natural and what doesn't." The only way that you really learn that is by having things put on their feet and given to actors and hopefully shot or staged in some way. When you hear people performing your script, you learn how things play, and that is crucial. The second draft of my segment is going to be 108 to 110 is great. That's exactly a great length for a script. Yes, indeed. Congrats, Malika Carpenter. Okay, so everybody, I am going to go, and I am not going to be here tomorrow. Tuesday, I have some errands to do, some things I got to do. So I will see you on Wednesday. In the meantime, go write something.